All right. So, welcome everyone. I know we were chatting a little bit, but I am really glad to have everyone join us for our SWE programs crash course. And I'm really excited to say that this is our first installment in the GradSWE Graduate Research Showcase. So, we're going to have a really good kickoff with you guys here today. So, just a little introduction about each of the speakers. My name is Jenna Salman. I am currently a grad student studying for my master's in aerospace at Georgia Tech. I am a seven-time CLI alum and I am an LDP advanced alum. So, I will be talking a little bit about both of those programs.
And I'm Zul Kazim, a third year PhD student at Case Western Reserve University. And unlike Jenna, I am a one-time CLI and LDP beginner track alumna.
Hi, I'm Marguerite Smith. I am a one-time alumni of CLI when I was in college, and I was the guinea pig pilot of the Ignite program last year, and I'm a patent agent at Banner Witkoff in Washington, D.C.
So, we're really only going to talk about our experiences in the Collegiate Leadership Institute Leadership Development Program and then Ignite. But there are a bunch of other SWE programs that are also not as heard of out there that grad students and late career can apply to. So, both CLI and LDP, beginner and advanced, are for undergrad and grad students. Everyone is welcome to apply for those. There's also a program more geared towards graduate students, postdocs, and professors called the Academic Leadership for Women in Engineering. And we don't have someone with current experience on that, but Zool just got accepted to All We, so next year she's going to tell us about her experience in that. Ignite is more for early career professionals. So if you've just left college and you're within like 1 to 5 years of your working experience, that is a good program for you. And then later on in our careers, there is a return to work program for people returning to industry.
Right. So starting off with the Collegiate Leadership Institute, and the aim of this program is to provide professional development that increases self-awareness as well as leadership skills. And aside from the other good things about this program, is that it is not SWE specific. So you learn more general leadership competencies that are definitely transferable to every other domain that you're interested in. So the format for this program is a virtual monthly professional development that usually runs from August to March. And you have access to previous CLI content through the Advanced Learning Center, and you get to network as well as have the opportunity for peer-to-peer development. So the requirement for this program is to have a 2.5 over 4 GPA, as well as be a SWE member studying STEM. So aside from the transferable skills, some of the other benefits are free next year conference registration, as well as a CII headshot boot and digital badge, which I think are really impressive.
And each of us have like our own experiences in CLI. For me, I always found CLIs really engaging, and I personally attribute it to starting my path to SWE leadership. And the fun thing about CLI that not a lot of people know is that every year you reapply, it's actually different. So that's why, we were all alums, of varying years. But the most valuable thing for me from CLI was the networking. Each year, I've met people that are literally my best friends in SWE, and we meet up at conference, and it's the best time ever. So I owe CLI that experience.
For me, CLI helped me in identifying my leadership matrix. I think one of the most important and enjoyable moments for me was seeing women in different industry and how they've gotten to all of the leadership positions they're in. And it made it seem much more achievable for me. and I was able to identify what my leadership strengths are, what challenges I really need to improve, and also how I prefer to lead.
I really liked CLI because, similar to Jenna, I didn't see myself as SWE leadership material. I just never thought about what came after college. So when I was a college junior in the CLI program, it opened up doors to maybe I should be in SWE leadership. What other organizations have leadership beyond the collegiate level? And that's really created my path to now being SWE leadership, but also being leadership in other professional organizations that aren't SWE.
Right. The next program is the Leadership Development Program, the beginner track. And the aim of this is to build skills for collegiate leaders in SWE. But again, all of these skills are leadership skills and they're definitely transferable. The duration, format, and type are it's a 9-month program, which usually runs from August to May. And there are two separate tracks, the beginner and the advanced track. So the beginner curriculum intends to advance promising SWE leaders in their leadership competency, as well as to grow their SWE knowledge, while the advanced focuses on enhancing more experienced SWE leaders' ability, as well as projects that is intended to apply leadership skills. So you're not just learning all of these skills, but you're actually applying them to really absorb them in. And many beginner track members participate in the advanced track the following year. Like for me, for instance, I hopefully would get into the advanced track because I applied. And what are the expectations for this program? Again, it's a virtual monthly meeting where you're assigned tasks such as DEIB moments, buddy groups to kind of sort of peer-to-peer mentorship, learn what your other members are doing, how they're learning from their own perspective, and how you can also learn as well. And there are really amazing practicums to kind of practice all of the teachings, as well as one-to-one meeting with the coordinators to understand how you're learning, if there is any specific skills you want to learn and you want them to bring on board, which I think is really amazing because it is people-centered. So who is this program for? It is for all programs and degree, unlike the CLI that is mostly for STEM. And you need a 3.0 over 4 GPA to be accepted into the program. So what opportunity does the LDP beginner track give? It improves communication by gaining confidence in speaking as well as presenting ideas clearly. I have personally seen how that has grown for me and continue to grow, as well as offers professional networking by building connection with peers, mentors, and professionals. And also enhances teamwork skills where you learn to collaborate effectively in diverse groups. And the perfect example is the buddy group where you're meeting and you're assigned to different people every single month. So you get to really learn to work together as a team, try to schedule times where everybody's free. So it's a really good learning process, as well as building strong listening skills by learning to listen actively and as well as respond with empathy, and definitely help with leadership confidence. Personally, it has helped me develop my leadership style as well as have self-assurance.
All right, so for the LDP advanced track, everything Zool said about requirements and DEIB moments and buddy meetings, that also happens in advanced as well as beginner. And they're actually the same application. So you will fill out the same application in Smarter Select, and then based on like the reviewer's impression of your leadership experience and how advanced you are, they will place you in one or the other. And because it is so common to go beginner to advanced, if you just hop into advanced, which is what happened to me, they do expect you to have a little bit of prior knowledge about things like the leadership competency model and everything, but they are still very welcoming if you don't have that experience. They're very understanding. So the biggest difference with LDP Advanced is that you have a project that is due at the end of the year, at the end of the program. This is not required for beginner track, so it's just for advanced. And it's a team-based project focused on real SWE issues. So each year they pick like a theme that they want to work on within SWE, and you have maybe 5 different project options that fit that theme chosen for that year you can pick between. So it is a little bit more workload because on top of everything for LDP beginner, you're going to have your monthly project meetings, you have presentations, and then a big presentation at the end of the year, and you have more assignments on top of normal LDP work. But it's really cool because at the end of the year, you actually get to present your findings and your project to the SWE president and like a little cohort of people. And you get to implement real change based on what you suggest. So I find that this is great for your SWE resume. It's so huge saying this early in your career that you have such a large organizational impact and that you had an audience with the president to make that impact. So the benefits are a little bit more subtle than CLI. We don't get free conference registration, but you do have much more specialized leadership training for SWE and organizational leadership and like the leadership competency model. And I found that you actually get a lot of recognition from SWE leadership because, again, you have that audience with the president. So I loved LDP. I thought the project was actually a way for leadership to notice how you handle leading. Leaders kind of naturally emerged in our project groups, as I'm sure you've all observed in any project you've ever been on. And we actually experienced a lot of conflict, but the coordinators helped me work through it. And I definitely think seeing who worked well with others accelerated their path into SWE leadership and made certain people stand out a lot as candidates in LDP. I also got a lot of pride and fulfillment from presenting the project, seeing the president and the board accept our ideas and saying, like, that's amazing. We're actually going to implement that. It made me really proud to be contributing to SWE and, again, just like driving organizational change. I thought that was huge. And lastly, I think this gave me my first experience in what being a SWE leader would be like. For some reason, I did not think I wanted to be specifically in SWE leadership. And it was actually someone I networked with in CLI who said, I would love this and I should apply for it. And now I'm telling you, you would love it and you should apply for it because it made me realize I have a lot of SWE knowledge and I'm really good at development programs. And SWE organizational leadership is slightly different than other leadership you've probably experienced, other group projects you've experienced, but it's also not. I mean, you have skills you can transfer to that. And it was a really good to see how that played out.
So the Ignite program is technically new this year. I would consider this the first real launch of Ignite. I was in last August's guinea pig test pilot program of it, which had about 20 of us. And instead of being throughout the entire year, it was only a month long, a month and a half, 6 weeks. But now it's going to be much longer, as I'll talk about. But Ignite is focused on early career professionals. So I was a fresh grad trying to settle into my first real job, and I was the perfect candidate for that. I had about 19 other early career professionals, definitely within 4 or 5 years of their college graduation, new to industry, still figuring out what entry level looks like. And the purpose of this was to not assess necessarily SWE leadership, but how you can bring your leadership competency model results to the workplace. How can you become leadership even without a title? How do you find your personal style in leadership? And how do you translate that to the workplace? So it's a really great program, and I'm excited that it's a year-long event now and no longer just 6 weeks. We would meet once a week and we would go over a different area of the leadership competency model, talk about our strengths and our weaknesses in small peer groups. It was all virtual, so it was small peer sessions of about 3 or 4 other members, and we would break out and a couple times there'd be moderators, but that's gonna be a bigger thing this year to see what moderators look like. I know they're implementing that. I'll be one of your moderators if you do Ignite. Um, but it's a really great thing to discover your own type of leadership. So it's August through March, which is awesome. So much longer than before. Applications haven't opened yet. They open very soon. So it should be the end of next week they open, if not the following week, early August. 1 to 5 years post-college experience is what they're looking for. And if you have any current or past SWE leadership, that's great, but not required. I had no previous SWE leadership, but I was a member of a committee. And that was enough. I had some leadership at college, but no adult professional level leadership at the society level. We do not get free conference registration. That's just a really awesome CLI perk. But we do get the free professional virtual headshot booth. That was awesome. And then you get a digital badge to share, and you just make really great connections. I am still connected with a lot of the Ignite girls, and I like following to see what they're up to. So, as I said earlier, it is small peer coaching circles, no more than 4 people at a time. You're figuring out your own leadership style through self-reflection and you're relating with others. You know, what is my weakness? What is my strength? Is my weakness business acumen? That's a part of the leadership competency model. That was my weakness. My business acumen was not superior. But my communication was a higher one. So that was a strength of mine. And in analyzing all of these different strengths and weaknesses, you come up with your own leadership style and plan that you can apply to the workplace, whether you're interacting with coworkers or you're interacting with your management or your bosses. You're building a personal brand in the workplace. You don't need a title of leadership to be able to do that. It was really great. It was my first time using the SWE leadership competency model, so that gave me a really great understanding of that tool. So I highly recommend the Ignite program if you're early career and even if you're not yet in the future. Think about the Ignite program once you're done with the amazing CLI and LEP.
So here we just have the program links and we can put the slides up on the website so you have access to these links for the requirements of all the programs and deadlines. Did we have any questions for any of the speakers about any of the programs or experience?
Please ask away.
Yes.
I had one question. Could you like explain more about like what the purpose of the buddy groups are and like what you do in your buddy groups?
Right. That's a very good question. So the buddy group is basically to break everybody involved in the LDP into smaller groups. And the focus of this is so that and again, these groups vary every single month. So you're usually not in the same group with the same people the same month. One of it is to get to know other people better. And then you have a question posed every month to discuss with each other. It could be how you've reacted to a work crisis before in the past where different people share their experiences and you get to learn. Or the question could be, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And, just a really small group getting together, getting to know each other, as well as exchanging ideas. I hope that
Yeah.
answers the question.
When I did LDP, it was actually one-on-one. So we had a monthly 30-minute call with another participant just to network and meet each other. And I think it was because LDP is pretty focused on the learning when you're actually like in class. I mean, not class, but for lack of a better word. And so they wanted us to have an opportunity to get to know each other personally and build that network. It was
A
fun.
small bag, a small marshmallow. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for answering that question.
Um, I would. Can I go with one? Hello.
Oh, we can hear you.
Yeah. So I was just thinking if um I was now supposed to decide between the CLI and the LDP, what would be the main reason to choose between one of them? I mean, what would be the main difference? Let's say it like that.
Well, if you apply to both, you don't have to choose. You can do both at the same time and get like the more generalized leadership and the more specific SWE leadership.
Okay.
But specifically for the difference, I would say LDP is smaller and it is more SWE focused. So you're going to learn more about like, SWE's organizational structure, SWE's leadership competency model, whereas CLI, you might have what is my leadership style or like how to negotiate, like other leadership skills like that.
Okay. Uh, and so if I decide to now do both, I'm just thinking about the time commitment. Um, so could you please tell a little bit more on that?
So for all of this program, I don't like for the CLI and the LDP beginner, you basically meet once a month. And
Yeah.
although you do have practicums that you have to turn in, like for CLI, during the in-class presentation at the end, if you, again, for CLI, if you're unable to make the meeting, you can always go back. I think you have 30 days to watch the video and answer some of the questions that will be asked at the end and turn in the assignment. So even if they recognize and understand that a lot of us are in school and we may not be able to make it to the in-person or the live class, so there's always room for you to go back. And the same goes for LDP. You can always go back for to go over the slides, reach out to your buddy group, and that's another skill you learn. So you get to understand that people have different time commitments and figure out a way to walk around all of those things. So there is
Okay.
definitely room for you to not be present, but also learn as much.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah, I think I'm just interested in both. But I was just worried about the time commitment, but I think it should be doable. But I have already submitted the application for CLI, and I think they send me the confirmation email as well for the program. I haven't applied for the LDP yet. So will the application to LDP be affected because I'm already now a participant for the CLI?
No,
Oh,
you'll
okay,
have completely different reviewers, and I don't think they'll know you're in CLI.
okay,
But it actually used to be required that if you got into LDP, you had to do CLI. So that used to be like your automatic get in. And they don't do that anymore, but doing both is very doable. And yeah,
okay.
we used to have to do it.
Okay, okay. That makes a lot of sense. Perfect. Thanks a lot.
I do see some questions in the chat. What does the future look like for the three of you, and how has SWE and these programs helped you navigate both the career and personal development aspects in your engineering career? Well, I will start. The the Ignite program was great, and I think I was only in my second month of my real job when I started the Ignite program. And we met weekly, which I cannot confirm whether it will remain weekly because it's a longer period of time. I could see it becoming like every other week or even a monthly program like Ignite or CLI. Um, so TBD on that. But it was great because it helped me understand my strengths and weaknesses, and then I applied that to the workplace. So I've naturally, over the last year, um, been able to become a leader in the workplace because of good work ethic and all the normal things you're supposed to do well, but also because I know that I am very strong in communication. So I use that to my advantage to, I guess, build connections with the senior management and the attorneys who I work under. And I've been able to know that I'm weaker in the business acumen area so that I pay special attention to becoming better in that area when there's an opportunity to learn about the BD side of uh, the business. So it's just something I didn't know about and I wasn't confident in. So the Ignite program really helped me figure that out.
I can go next.
Okay, so
For me, I would say that first of all, I was able to connect with a lot of amazing women who some of them have similar story when it comes to leadership. Like for me, I came from a really patriarchal country. Women are told to step aside when it comes to leadership. So I was really shy when it comes to taking positions and all of that. But being a member, like participating in the CLI as well as the LDP, I saw women who have faced all of those things and I've only grown stronger. So it definitely made me more confident and made me realize that the worst that could happen is a no, but I should always give it a chance. I should always understand and know that as much as a guy can lead, so a woman can lead also. So there is no difference between us. We can have the same leadership skills. We can even be better leaders than they are. So I definitely got the confidence. As to my future plans, I think I love volunteering so much that I will continue to pursue a lot of positions within SWE, both volunteering roles and other roles. I'm currently part of the Women in Academia committee, and it has been amazing. I've seen the other side of academia where you're just not a professor, but you could also be in an administrative position as well as a woman. So that's really amazing. And which is why I applied for the All We program also to develop all of those skills.
kind of to echo what both of you have said, I think I will also answer confidence. When I was in my undergrad and I first applied to CLI, I had imposter syndrome so bad. But the girl boss energy in these programs and like the people you meet, it really helps. And I think what it did most for me in my SWE career, at least, was yeah, just give me that confidence to ask. Um, so when I first decided I wanted like a SWE job, I guess, I applied and I went through a bunch of interviews and I didn't get it. They told me I was like the runner up. So what I ended up doing was like I had that confidence from CLI to just say, hey, I have an idea of how to improve this program and I want to take leadership on this and I want to do this. And, what was the worst she could say? And it happened. And I had a leadership position and it's actually gone through to change our networking in CLI and Ignite. Like, I don't know if you knew that that was the reason we had coordinators now for that. So I never would have done that in my undergrad. No, I don't think I would have had the confidence to just ask or to pave my own way. So I really can't recommend it enough. Um, and as for my future, I'm in the trenches with grad school right now, so we're gonna finish that. But I can't really see a future where I'm not in SWE leadership at some point. So like I volunteered for GradSWE and I still do stuff for CLI and LDP. So I think I'm going to be in this organization forever.
I also see myself as a forever SWE gal, which is why that
Yeah.
whole lifetime SWE membership will make sense at one point in my life. The follow-up question is, what recommendations do you have to young collegiate members who think, wow, maybe I want to get more involved in SWE leadership, but not sure where first? And what should they do as an undergrad? How might that be different for graduates looking to get more involved? Oh, well, I would say honestly the same. I would give the same answer for both. Uh, because just being an undergraduate student or any student graduate level, um, graduated and in industry, the new working groups are the place to start, and even affinity groups. Um, I didn't understand in my collegiate section, which I was very involved in, that I could be a part of the society level SWE through these former committees that are now called working groups. Uh, and yeah, just being in college or grad school of any sort does not preclude you from participating in those. So if you're interested in SWE leadership in the future, I think absolutely get involved at the society level as early as you can. That was a late find for me post grad when I was like, oh, I don't have a collegiate section anymore, and my local section's kind of far. How do I stay involved? But knowing what I know now, I absolutely would have gotten involved in the society level while I was a student still. What do you guys think?
I would say for me, unfortunately, I did my undergrad in Nigeria and SWE wasn't a thing. So I got to learn about that when I started my PhD here in the US. And I had the same feeling like, okay, I'm not a person who likes to be a part of an organization and not be active. So I had the same question, where do I start? What do I do? And I think the first ever thing I volunteered for at SWE was the SWE Next program, where we try to encourage high school students and all of that, which was really fun. And then from there, I saw a lot of opportunities for other volunteer, like the event beauty at conferences. And I was like, oh, this seems fun. How about I just take it a step further and apply for the Women in Academia Committee. I actually applied for something else, and then they were like, "Oh, I think we have another like Jenna." I didn't get that too, and then they recommended the Women in Academia Committee, and I have never been more proud or happy to be anywhere. So my answer is just start from anywhere at all. There are numerous opportunities within SWE, and they're accommodating.
I think what I'll add to that is there's a lot of positions in SWE, like even really high up, that collegiates can apply to. I mean, I applied to be a senator at one point. Zool, I think you were working with Senate at some point. Like, that seemed really high up in leadership. I didn't know I could apply as a collegiate. I didn't know I had a shot. But somewhere that exists, if I find it, I can send it out. There's like an Excel spreadsheet of what leadership positions you can apply for and what they're looking for. And a lot of them actually had, if you're a collegiate, they wanted to see some collegiate leadership at your section level. And it wasn't end all be all if you didn't have it, because some people like don't have sections and everything. But in my undergrad, I never took a leadership role at my section level. I was focused on CLI and I did society level stuff, and I kind of regret it. I wish I had gotten more involved with that chapter. So I would recommend, if you want to start small, maybe start there because it starts checking off the boxes to go toward the bigger stuff.
That's a good point, Jenna. I think I felt the other way. I was like, oh, was I too involved with the collegiate level that I didn't see what was going on at the society level? I think both are correct. I think I could have done
Yeah.
less of one and more of another. How do you continue to be involved with SWE and SWE leadership post-grad? Okay, so this is my first time. This new fiscal year is my first time as SWE leadership, which is great. So I am the chair-elect of the Member Engagement Working Group, which is a very established group. They were around before the reconstruction of the organization. So I'm very excited to join that group, and they're just awesome. I'm also the Internal Affairs chair of the Early Career Professionals Affinity Group. And affinity groups are just a little bit different than working groups, because it's more about shared interests and, in our case, age group rather than uh, SWE interest or experience. There's all ages, all levels, all walks of life in the working groups. I'd say the affinity groups are a little bit more refined in terms of membership is more similar. Just in ECPAG's case, I guess, as well. But yeah, that was my first time in leadership. I did Ignite last year. I was a committee member. That was my first committee, so that was good. And I was a section leader when I was in college, and I did CLI. So I think I slowly built my way up. But even then, 2 months ago when I applied for the position with SWE, I had a lot of reservations about should I be applying for leadership. And I just wasn't sure, am I experienced enough? Am I the right fit? This is a new working group. I hadn't been a part of it last year. So it took someone else at SWE to push me to apply to that and say, of course you are. Of course you can handle it. And, you were a sub-team lead for a committee. You can be a chair. It's okay. Or a chair-elect. So yeah, it took a push from someone else still. So you do gain confidence in a lot of areas, but um, it's not uncommon to have that moment of, should I be doing this still? And I'm glad I really pushed through and did.
Yeah, I agree. Committees and affinity groups are a really great way to stay involved. I'm in a couple affinity groups, early career professionals. They're great. Um, they let you be in there as a collegiate, so I've actually been in that group for longer than I should be. But um, it's really great for affinity group wise to have like a more casual group of people that support you. But if you're going for leadership and stuff, it's changing all the time. I mean, last year at conference there was kind of a career fair style event. It was called like the committees fair. And it was just every committee had a table so you could find out what bylaws did, find out what the leadership coaching committee does. And I thought that was really helpful because even if LDP trains you on what committees there are, you don't know what they all do. There's a lot. So yeah, I would say committees, affinity groups, go to conference, just network with people.
Follow-up question. So about the affinity groups, how do you like get involved in the affinity groups or and meet other people in that? Because I know that as a SWE member, I do have signed up for like a couple of like interest groups, and I see on the SWE Mentor Network that you can gain mentorship from like people in those affinity groups. But are there any like meetings or events that you can attend with your affinity groups?
I can only speak for ECPAG, but they're very active. We have events nearly weekly, honestly, for all sorts of different things. There's professional development webinars. There's coffee chats just to get together virtually on like a lunch break and just catch up and talk about like a fun topic casually. There's like, I say social events, like we'll do meetups in person by locale. And then we'll also do like virtual social events like a game night or um, afternoon. Um, and then you meet up at conference and stuff. So they're incredibly active, especially virtually. So definitely check out the affinity groups because I know other ones like even Women in Government is very active. Um, there's just a lot of great AGs that I think are very welcoming, and they'll keep you busy. Like it's nothing. I say it's more casual just because of the vibe or feel of it. Um, but yeah, they stay busy just like a committee would. I think it's great because everyone's welcome. You can just be a member in uh like ECPAG or any other AG and just like enjoy being there. You're not necessarily like tasked with things like you are working in a committee. So working group is what they're called now.
Okay, thank you. I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
Margaret, because I had a follow-up question exactly along the same lines. I was always interested in the early career professional groups because, I mean, because I'm also at that stage right now, um, midway through my PhD, thinking about the industry and stuff like that. So, like, we have roles in the member engagement working group. Is there something we could get involved? I mean, like a similar role in the early career professionals as well.
Yeah, ECPAG in particular has a lot of leadership roles. In a similar way to a working group, there's like chairs and co-chairs, leads and co-leads. So I wouldn't say it's all that different. I'd say it's a lower level of commitment depending on the position. There's a lot of like sub-level positions I'd say that are like super low commitment, maybe like an hour to a month even. Like there's some really low key positions. But being even like an AG chair is a lot of work. So they try not to let you be an AG chair if you're going to be a chair of another, like a working group or another AG, because it's so much responsibility. Um, so I am doing both roles. I mean, I have a very low key role with ECPAG and a major role with MEWG. Um,
Mhm.
so you definitely can participate and be leadership in both, which I find very rewarding because it's two different social experiences to me.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that's important for me. And I don't know, I'm sure Jenna, you've had experience being an ECP as a member for much longer than I have, honestly.
I'm actually not as involved in ECP. I go to some of the coffee chats because I do like how chill they are. But I never did ECP leadership. I'm in GradSWE, obviously. Like you were asking about affinity group events, you are at an affinity group event. We are GradSWE. And so I did leadership for that. It's kind of time consuming, but also a role that hasn't really been done before. So we're trying to start these events and have this speaker series so we can talk about affinity groups more. But also, I'm in the SWE Disability Inclusion Affinity Group, and that's a really, really new affinity group. I don't know if you guys know, but starting your own affinity group is actually not that hard. But so we're kind of small and we're kind of starting from the ground up. So I've spent some time with them. I don't know if that answered the question. I just talked about affinity groups.
Yeah. So is it like a similar form that we used to apply for a working group, like a leadership role? Is it the same form that we can use for any of these affinity groups, especially the early career?
Yeah, ECPAG is great. You can apply through the job board to
Okay.
be just a member or volunteer. And
Yeah.
then ECPAG, I believe, has their own independent website, and you could join through there by contacting them. I think they have like a Google form that's also, that's how I joined, like pre-job
Okay.
board's existence. So both
Okay.
should work. And if not, just like reach out to me and I will put you in the Slack. Like we'll find a way to get you in if the job board takes too long. Um, but yeah,
Okay.
I would say the proper avenue is considered the job board now that it's open.
Okay. Okay. I'll definitely do that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Um, One last follow-up, I think, on my side. So for the early career, I think there would be some kind of gathering at the conference. I think it was there last year, but is there something similar happening for the leadership development programs as well? So is there an opportunity to meet in person with other participants? Just want to know. I just don't want to miss any opportunity of meeting everyone. So
I'm a moderator for Ignite and I don't know. So I will find out from Rachel.
okay,
But
I mean,
I can't speak
look.
for CLI or LDP because I am only now in the uh, CLI group
Yeah.
chat post doing it. So maybe Jenna, you
Okay.
can weigh in.
Yeah, so I guess the answer used to be like, no, not really. And that was one of the things I petitioned for in CLI because I wanted more networking. So
Mm,
last year was the first time we did a networking wide group chat that didn't really have leadership in it. It was just us talking about conference, giving advice, meeting each other. I think we watched a couple movies. So it was pretty fun. Um, and then I would say we're going to do it again next year. We might revamp it a little bit and change programs and stuff, but we still will have the networking. And then for LDP, we had a Slack. People didn't use it as much. I think Slack just has a more professional feel to it, but we definitely got to talk to each other, and the buddy programs helped.
okay. Makes sense. Thank you.
And also, yeah, we got some questions about connecting with everyone. So LinkedIn's in the chat.
Yes, I did put my LinkedIn in the chat. I hope everyone else got theirs in there too. Um, yeah, my LinkedIn DMs are open at all times. Very easy to access me there.
And I just wanted to say that aside from all of the working groups and the affinity groups, there are also other like volunteer roles that are short term, like volunteering for conference as like there are different chair you can be during the conference preparation and all of that. And I think they're short term roles, but they're also really great if you just want to test the water and see how it feels to take up position within SWE.
That's true.
They
I
were.
was a SWE scholarship judge last spring, so I decided which first years, based on their essays, um, should get SWE scholarships for their incoming freshman year. And then I actually judged the We25 poster competition for you in academia. Since I'm a non-academia person, I could do that. So I read all your abstracts, and I'm very sorry if you didn't get it because there's no names attached. All I'm reading is an abstract, so it's not my fault.
You mean for V25?
Yeah,
I am doing a poster.
I'm sure I read it and I said yes.
Well, that's fun. Okay.
So there, yeah, that was only like those things I swear are only like 2 or 3 week commitments at a time. They're very small. And they can be done like in a weekend or like one sitting, honestly. So I took some of those on just to see what they were like. They were good. Now that the new fiscal year started and I have leadership, no need, don't feel the need. Um, but really great roles for people. So thanks for bringing that up, Zoel. That was great.
All right, so I switched our slide to show our deadlines here. So CLI has closed, and I think we said that everyone got their results. I did the grading for CLI, so I'm glad to hear that some of you got in. So do that next year if you did not apply. I hope we have convinced you. Um, LEP applications are currently open and they end August 1st. So if you need application tips and help, I mean, we're all sharing our contacts, of course, feel free to reach out. And then Ignite isn't even open yet. So keep a lookout for that if you want to be in Ignite this year. Did we have other questions? See
Oh,
a
well,
chat.
that's awesome. I hope you join our AGs.
I feel like
Mhm.
nobody wants to join the women in academia. We also have fun. We have like reading Mondays where we just join a group chat and we just read our journals and try to write our proposals and all of that.
Hey, Women in Academia has a very
So,
important member right now. Abigail has now joined the board of directors. She is
I
big stuff
know.
now.
Mhm.
She's the voice for us, for the people.
yeah. So as you mentioned about the women in academia, so is it more only specific to people um, joining as faculty positions in academia, or it's also grad students? Because I'm just I don't think I'm going to join the academia after completing the grad school. I am more of an industry person, so that's the only reason I was not thinking about women in academia at this point, but would love to hear from you.
Right. So I'll be honest, the goal of women in academia is mostly centered around academia, how we can make the academic environment better for women, improving ourselves and all of that. But definitely, I feel like since you're still a grad student, you can join and see how it is. Everybody's most definitely welcome, but just so you know that it's centered towards academic, but we do all other stuff too. Even if you're in industry, you definitely do research. So I feel like it will still be a good environment for you.
Thank you. Okay.
That's all I got. But feel free to reach out with more questions. Absolutely. I think we're all responsive and available.
Yeah, and I mean, Lastly, I would like to say on behalf of GradSWE, on behalf of everyone who gets everything like out of this presentation and benefits from this, thank you, Marguerite, thank you, Zool, for taking the time to do this, for giving us an excellent kickoff to the research showcase. I couldn't have asked for a better presentation. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. You organized us.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, all. It was super helpful, and I'm happy to meet Zul again. We have definitely met before. Um,
She's my mentor.
no, 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 no. Yeah, I just
Yes, you
no, no,
are.
no, 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 no. It's not more like a mentor. I was just trying to share my experience with the present rapid fire presentation at the previous conference. But I'm super glad to meet you again. I Margaret shared the flyer, and I was like, oh wow, Zul is also on the talk. uh, Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
I'll stop the recording.